Hi guys, I'm Bobsy, and this is really the last planned video. And now from on here, this series will really be driven by what you guys want. So make sure to leave that in the comments. Now in this last one, we're essentially just going to finish it up a bit, just have like some win text about who won the whole game. And that's really it. Then you have kind of your initial gameplay loop. And then we're going to set it up so that you can easily test online with your friends, whether that's in editor, whether that's in build. Regardless, it's going to be really, really easy to test. And yeah, so let's just get right into it. Now, first things first, I just want to announce who the winner is. I realized we never really did that, and it should be really easy to add. So what I really want to do is I just want to add, let's do it like an overlay screen actually. So let's make it a separate view and let's make it end game view. So we've already had some views. We add the canvas group to it. And now in the scene view here, let's go into 2D, double click the end game view here. And let me make it full screen as well. Let me have it scale with the full screen size, and I'm just going to set everything to 0 again as we've done before. All right, cool. Now that we have that set up, I am going to get some UI text mesh pro, which is just going to be the title. And let's make this auto size. Let me make it bold, put it in the middle. You can really do whatever you want with it. And let's make the max size maybe 100. This is going to be big because this is essentially, who won the whole game. And I think let's also add a background image. That's just going to be like a darkened background or something like that. I think that'll work nicely. Scale the screen size, 0, 0, 0, 0 again. I'm going to make this black and a bit see-through, only a little, like that. And I'm going to put this behind the text. And we can also just block these out so we can see kind of how it'll look if we want to. Or I guess we can also just select them and set their alpha to 0 so we can see it in the game view. This is how it's going to look. And then it can be something like player, whoever won XXX has won the game. Something like that. Can maybe make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Let's keep it nice and big on screen. Cool, so we'll just make essentially this fade in. So now let's just go to UI and make this the end game view. Let's make it of the type of view. And let's of course integrate the types or the methods that we need in here. The abstract types. All right, cool. And then on show and on hide, we don't really do anything right now. So this should really mostly be fine. I guess we can, in awake, we do the instance handler.register instance to this instance. I assume that you guys know what we're doing at this point. Instance handler.unregister instance end game view. I've explained this a few times now, so hopefully it makes sense. And then what I want to do is I just want to make a public void set, and I guess we can just do like a set winner, and then we can just send through the player ID who is the winner. Then we can handle whatever we want to handle from in here. I think that's cleaner. And we can also just quickly serialize a field. Whoops, not serializable, serialized field to a private text mesh pro text, which is just going to be the, I guess winner text is a fine name. And then here we can set up the winner text obviously however we want. .text equals 2, and then let's set it to player. And then the winner wins the game. Something like that. I think that'll work fine. Let's do winner.id just to make sure that's what we get out. Of course, again, you can always set it up with some naming or something. And let me know in the description if you want me to help set up like a lobby system or integrate with Steam or whatever you'd want. PurrNet comes with a built-in Steam transport as well. So that should be really easy to do. And now let's go to the end game state that we have here, our game end state. And essentially when we enter that, we should already from the score manager know who the winner is because we already log it out here. And we essentially just need to send that on to the end game view. So we can do if instance handler.try get instance out end game view. And then let's just unfold this. Oh, and this of course going to be called our end game view. God, I deleted it. Beautiful. End game view like that. There we go. And I'm going to say if it doesn't find it, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to return, and we're essentially going to say fail to get end game view like that. And then down here, we're going to call endGameView.set winner to the winner that we have here. And then let's also do the fading in. I guess we can just do that when we do set the winner. I think that's fine. So let's just do the fading in. And as we've done before, let's do it through an enumerator just to make it smooth. So let's do fade screen and bool fade in, for example. There we go. And now I'll do, I think what we've done before. I just do a float, call it t, and then while t is less than whatever duration we want it to be. So let's do something like serialized field, private, float, fade, duration. And let's just say that's 1 second. So if that is less than that, then we will continue going around, and we can say t plus equals to time dot delta time, because now we're counting up. Can't remember if I've already done this in the series, but essentially we're just counting up, and we'll do yield return null. Essentially this means we're now going to be looping in here for 1 second. So anything that runs in here runs essentially similar to the update loop, but for only 1 second, and then it'll continue out. Cool, and essentially what we now want to do is just we want to set the of course, we need a reference to the canvas group as well. So it's field private canvas group, and that'll be the canvas group, like so. And this canvas group dot alpha will be set to whether, yeah, I mean it did it right here. So whether it should fade in. This was the one-line if statement that I've taught you earlier in the series. Essentially, if we are fading in, this is what'll run. So it'll essentially have the time divided by the fade duration, which should move between 0 and 1. And if we're not fading in, it's essentially the same thing, but -1, which is essentially because we're doing it the opposite way around. So I hope that makes sense. And because in that case, of course, we want to fade out. And so yeah, this should really do the same. And so up here where we now set the winner, we also just do start coroutine, and we call the screen. And of course we want to fade it in. Cool. So now I can fade in. And if we want to, we could make this public to make it accessible from the outside. But I think this should really do it. So now we should have a winner announced. So let's try and give this a spin. So let's go to the canvas, drag this into the all views. Oh, of course I forgot to add the view. I do tend to do that. I think that's not the first time during this. Oh, it has multiple canvas groups, right? We already have the canvas group. Perfect. I guess we don't have to fade it in ourselves. I guess this is already handled for us when we open the view. Because it is a view, so we have to open the view. So I think we don't actually need to do that. I apologize about that. All right, cool. We can drag and drop the canvas view in, and we can drag and drop the winner text in. And then the end game view, sorry, the game end state now of course needs to open up the view. So we need to do the similar thing for as we do here. We also gotta call it for the game view manager, which will be the game view manager. And we'll also just say that it failed to get the game view manager. And then we can do game view manager dot, what did we call it? Let me just check. We called it show view. Show was the word. Show view. And this is of course the end game view that we want to show. Awesome, that should really do it. And this should be hiding others. I think it is by default true, right? Yes, it is. Cool, so we don't need to do anything there. And now let's give it a run. Let's just make sure that we've set it up on the canvas. We have not. Drag and drop it in there on the game view manager. And let's try and hit play. So I'll hit play here, I'll hit play on the other. And now the client will come over. Oh, let me use a machine gun to make it a little faster. There we go. So that was the first round, second round, and then we can have our main client over here, or the host, do the last kills. Now it should be player 2 winning the game, and you can see player 2 wins the game. Awesome, so this works. Now this screen popped up. I guess it isn't really nicely fading as you might want it, but we could do that in the view manager if we wanted to handle fading. Or we could also handle it on the endgame view separately and have some code to override it if we wanted to. Might not be a bad idea, to be honest, but yeah, that could be for cleanliness in the future. If that's something you want to see, let me know. Cool, so now that we have this endgame announcement, let's set it up so it actually works properly with multiplayer as well. And luckily for us, with PurrNet, it's extremely easy. We have what we call the PurrTransport. This is meant for just development, and as you can see, essentially it's already given your room name and it's already found automatically the best central, or the best region, sorry. And what this is essentially, the transports are what handle carrying data. So right now we've been using UDP transport, which is the default transport. But you can see the network manager here has a transport layer, so we can just drag and drop the PurrNet transport in instead. And now we're actually going to be using the relay. This also means we're now actually going to be having ping, because obviously we're not necessarily when we host, but let's give it a try. Let's just hit play here, just make sure that this works. And as you can see, there we go. Now we're connected to the relay. Let's also try really quickly, let me just save this, and we can have the other client join through the relay. And what I want to, before we do that, is I want to open the statistics manager of PurrNet. I just recently added these settings here so we can actually see data. So let's just keep track of our ping, and let's just keep it something like this and hit save. All right, so if I now just hit play here on the server, I hit play on the client, and there we go. So now we're connected, and you can see that we have the stats in the top left. However, if I now go and show you the client, you'll notice we actually have a ping. And this ping is because we're now connected through the relay, which is really cool. So now you can see things work. I can still damage him, he can damage me, but we're playing over the network. And this should make it really easy for you to play with friends. All you need to do is just set that PurrTransport. You can even make a build with Unity, send your friends the build, and they should be able to just open it up and play, as long as you've set the correct scene in your build settings, of course. So cool. And just to show you and demonstrate that this works, I'm gonna write to my co-developer of PurrNet here that he has to connect. And we'll essentially just wait for him to connect, and there he is. And you can see now we're running around and we're playing in multiplayer. And he's in a whole different country from me, and yet, you know, this just works that easily. There we go, now we can kill the guy. And there we go, and we win. And yeah, it's really as easy as that to just connect. It was really just adding the PurrTransport, and that's it. They'll always connect to the same room name, so you can of course also set your room name to whatever you want. PurrNet rules, for example. That'll work just fine. And now as long as everybody has the same room name, they'll be connected. And as you can see, you have different regions as well. And yeah, this is completely free for you to use. We don't charge anything for this, but mind you, it's not meant for production use. This is meant for development use. We might have a version of it you can use for production at some point, but this ain't it. And yeah, I really hope that this was helpful. I hope you learned something new throughout this series, and I really hope to see you in the comments and letting me know what you might want to add to your game, and you would love to see me show how you can do that. So I'll gladly help out. Also, please do join the PurrNet Discord. We try and be very active in there, very helpful. It's a wonderful community already. And yeah, looking forward to see you there. Please do remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I just hope that you have a wonderful day.